The $1 billion acquisition of Quest Nutrition is set to close here in a few weeks. So it's probably important for me to introduce you guys to the Simply Good Foods company and see what they have in store for the Quest bar maker. When I announced the acquisition of Quest Nutrition 2 months ago, many people were confused at who exactly bought them. Truth is, the Simply Good Foods company is not a household name. And I won't go too much into like the origination story around the Simply Good Foods company. If you guys are interested in some of that origination story, I will pop up a video here that is the first video that I talked about Simply Good Foods on the Quest Nutrition acquisition video. It's an interesting origination, also gives you a little bit of a sense of maybe what they're gonna be doing in the future with the Simply Good Foods portfolio. But just to give you guys a sense of the brands that are in the Simply Good Foods company portfolio now, you have Atkins Nutritionals, you have Simply Protein, and then soon to be you have Quest Nutrition. And since this is the last quarter, or in this case also the fiscal year, that Quest Nutrition's revenue and operations will not be included into the Simply Good Foods company's filings, I thought it was important just to set a baseline so you guys understood some of the numbers that we're playing with when we're talking about the Simply Good Foods company. And they reported these numbers on October 29th, 2019. We're talking about fiscal year total revenue 2019 of $523 million. That was up 21.3% year over year. If we're looking at just like a general gross margin number, you had 41.5%. That was basically flat year over year. I think last year's was 41.7%, so not much of a difference on the gross margin numbers. If we're looking at a net income number, that did decrease year over year, and there's a few things that they highlighted. Few that maybe make sense in the interim, short term, that I believe are probably gonna normalize in fiscal year 2020. And then one that makes a little bit of sense if we're talking about their acquisition of Quest Nutrition. So the first two that will, I believe, normalize in 2020, we're talking about higher sales and marketing expenses. This has a little bit to do with them adding some new products and changing up some of the products around Atkins portfolio, also around some different sales channels that they were getting involved in. So had some higher sales and marketing expenses. The other one that they talked about was around increased general and administrative costs. And a lot of this comes down to there's a tight labor market. You have Simply Good Foods that is growing, so you have the need to retain these good employees, and to retain them, you're gonna need to comp them out a little bit higher. Again, I believe that will probably normalize in 2020. And before I talk about that last one, I will kind of shift into some things around like Simply Good Foods' sales strategy, channel strategy, just so you guys can have an understanding of maybe how they operate if you're not too familiar with Atkins Nutritionals. Atkins, this is the Atkins Diet. This is one that you've known for a while. If it sounded familiar, this isn't a new company or something that stole the Atkins Diet's name. This is the same company. It's went through a ton of different iterations. I think it also went through a bankruptcy, and it went through a few private equity's hands that now it's in the current Simply Good Foods portfolio. So it's not the same company, but it is definitely the same name. And if we're talking about where they make the majority of their sales, we're talking about the mass retailers, the food channel, grocers, what I'm talking about there, and then also the club channel. Of the products that they sell in those primary channels, you're gonna be talking mostly around nutritional bars, snacks or confectionery, and then also ready to drink beverages. Now, if you are an Atkins Diet follower, you do know that they have a ton of like frozen meals, and frozen meals are actually done by another company that licenses the Atkins name. I believe that comes from MALICIOUS Foods. They also do some other brands that you would recognize in terms of their frozen meals. They license those names as well. Those are coming from Boston Market and Chili's. So this is a large contract manufacturer that also does distribution and sale. Simply Good Foods is not acquiring all of the revenue from that. They're also not incurring all the costs that go involved with that. They are just basically getting a licensed revenue coming from the sales of those products and the use of their intellectual property. And to shift gears now to answer that question about the last spending increase, the one that is kind of hurting some of their net profitability numbers year over year from fiscal year 2018 to fiscal year 2019. And that's coming around e-commerce investments and then also higher television media spends. Why I'm saying that these probably are not going to go away, they're not going to normalize in a sense next year, is that they have now Quest Nutrition joining the portfolio. And because they have them joining the portfolio, they are going to continue to focus on investments on e-commerce. And Simply Good Foods did see a 60% year-over-year growth rate on their digital business. It's now up to about 5% of their total sales. And I've discussed in the previous video around how I believe they needed to increase their digital sales. And it seems as if they are indeed pairing some strong strategy and some strong execution to prove that those investments around their e-commerce initiatives are working out. The higher TV media spends, and I know there are a lot of people that have this absolute mindset around anything other than digital marketing and thinking, well, why are you throwing away all that money? There's tons of other digital ways that you're gonna get better spend metrics and you're gonna have better data and all these different things. I get it. There's tons of different ways to look at everything, but in my world, there's no absolutes in terms of what is good or bad. It's all around particular sequences and patterns that are very individualized to the situation inside of those four walls. And in this particular sense, you have Atkins Nutritionals and the Atkins Diet trying to go through a reinvention. And Atkins Diet is trying to be reset in the US consumer mindset. And to do that, they need to be using mainstream mass media to appeal to as much of the core audience as possible. Atkins Nutritionals, especially ones that were introduced to Atkins Diet before, they're usually a little bit older at this point. So they are still people that have cable. They are still watching TV a lot. So a lot of times that is a good way to reach them. And they do currently now have a TV spend and a piece that they're running with Rob Lowe. And I'll show you guys that one right now.
I've heard some people were surprised to learn that I've been living Atkins for years. This is today's Atkins, and there are millions of us living it and loving it. Because today's Atkins isn't just, I'll have a couple of bacon cheeseburgers, hold the buns. It's fresh food, delicious stuff you make at home, healthy food that's high in protein, and you watch out for the carbs and sugars. No memberships, no meetings, no fees, just a life of eating well and feeling great. Welcome to Atkins Today.
So as you guys can see from that video, Atkins is playing off of the keto diet, the popularity of the keto diet, but taking a little bit less restrictive of a approach to it and focusing their messaging on how this will get you over some of those restrictive nature of keto and really add a less restrictive lifestyle that has proven and worked over the years. And you're seeing this with obviously the sales momentum of the portfolio and the brand as a whole. You're seeing some really good sales numbers. People are latching on to the Atkins Diet again as maybe another option to the keto diet that maybe they've struggled to adhere to. But staying in the section that I talked about, this final one that I think is going to continue because of the Quest Nutrition area in terms of their spending that is affecting some of their net profitability, we're going to kind of cover first like e-commerce. And Simply Good Foods believes that Quest Nutrition and their ability to sell across e-commerce is going to help Atkins Nutritional add a ton of valuable capabilities, creative resources, and technical skills to provide a very good benefit e-commerce digital wise to Atkins Nutritionals. So you're going to see investment overall continue because you're going to have new resources, new opinions, new thought patterns coming into the portfolio that's going to maybe change up some of the original initiatives. So you're going to have maybe a little bit extra of a spend, I think, initially until you can kind of get things streamlined and get things to properly work the way that maybe a better resource like the people at Quest Nutrition are going to bring to the table. Because Quest Nutrition is very good at building their brand digitally. They have done a really good job. They have strong e-commerce numbers overall. I think of their projected $350-ish million in fiscal year 2019, they have around 18 or so % of that coming from digital sales, e-commerce or direct to consumer. So this is a much bigger percentage than Atkins Nutritionals. So there should be a ton of value add coming from Quest Nutrition. Now, on the other hand, where Quest Nutrition maybe struggles or maybe has not focused a lot of their attention on currently is through some of the more mass media type of purchases. And Simply Good Foods and Atkins Nutritionals believe this is a strong suit for them. They believe this is where they're going to be able to help Quest Nutrition. So they're going to provide their expertise to some of this more broad reach celebrity and public relations to accelerate awareness, consideration, and trial for Quest products. And this kind of brought up a point of like, who would be the Rob Lowe of Quest Nutrition? Like, who would be a good pick for Quest Nutrition to have as maybe a face on some of their mass media content? And I'll be the first to admit I'm not the greatest at pop culture or knowing all the celebrities' ins and outs of their lives and whatever. So I did a little bit of searching to figure out like which celebrities that I believe maybe have some popularity and growth behind their brand also like nutritional bars. So one name that I popped up that I found was Blake Lively, and I thought that might be a pretty good fit, honestly. I don't know what affiliation she has in terms of other things. I know she mentioned maybe she liked Luna bars, but I think the little that I do know about her, it seems like she would be a pretty good fit. I've seen some of the interactions she has with her husband, Ryan Reynolds. She seems to be pretty hilarious on a digital sense. She also is a mother. She also does a lot of things around cooking and baking, and she, I think, says she really loves Martha Stewart. So I think there's a ton of opportunity probably for Blake Lively to be a really good fit for Quest Nutrition. Simply Good Foods also mentioned that they're going to be addressing some product innovation or just coming out with new product development around Quest Nutrition, also around Atkins Nutritionals. But it also got me to think maybe what products that Quest Nutrition could be launching in fiscal year 2020. They already have a more broad platform-based product offerings. They're no longer just the Quest bar maker. They have ready to mix, they have chips, they have pizza, and a few other things. But to me, I think you're gonna move towards maybe confectionery 2.0. I think that Atkins already does do some snacking confectionery type things, so maybe some different iterations off of those initial products. Quest Nutrition did have a peanut butter cup, a keto peanut butter cup before. I don't think it did very well, and they went through a few iterations of the product, and maybe it just didn't fit at the time for their brand. But I think you'll see some similar type of product innovations coming from Quest in 2020. And then also just like attacking center aisle of the grocery store. Like, where could they make an impact? Could that be in like cereal? Could that be in some other salty snacks outside of maybe the tortilla chips and just the other chips? Or could that be from reinventing maybe some childhood nostalgic treats? And I'm thinking here like maybe Twinkies or Ho-Hos or something that you would see at like a Little Debbie or a Hostess. But we don't know yet. Unfortunately, not a lot of information has come out around the plans for Quest Nutrition, not yet at least, and that's honestly because they have not really closed the deal yet. So until they close their deal, I'm sure we will continue to speculate on this channel. I hope you guys got at least some value out of that speculation and see a little bit of where my brain is at. Maybe that you could piggyback off of that and maybe make some sense of it or get some value from it for your business. And any of the Simply Good Foods portfolio members or just Quest Nutrition employees are watching this video and you guys got some inspiration from some of the things that I was talking about, you guys owe me a little bit of consulting revenue. Feel free to hit me up whenever you guys would like, and I can really show you guys what I could do. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help support me, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on this video. If this is the first time you've been introduced to my videos, would love for you guys to be a part of my community by subscribing to my channel. I upload several videos just like this weekly. And if you guys want to connect further outside of this platform, I do include all of my social media links down below. I just want to thank you guys again for your time. Hopefully I gave you some value in return, and we'll see you guys on the next video.